My project on the Sony PlayStation Network attack of 2011. And the network outage was a result of external intrusions on Sony's PlayStation Network, um, which the personal data from approximately 77 million accounts were compromised. This prevented users from accessing the PlayStation 3 services from the time of the outage, and they had, like I said, 77 million registered network accounts, which made it the largest security breach in history at the time of that kind, cyber breach. Um, and that just says, like, if Sony can be hacked, one of the largest technical companies in the world, it just makes us realize the true risk of data exploitation. But let me dig into this a little bit deeper. So the company had huge repercussions after this, both in the short term by leaving users out for weeks without services that they were paying for, so people were obviously angry, and in the long term as Sony tried to win back customer trust by giving out free stuff and promotional items that cost them a lot of money. It all began with Anonymous, the hacker group. They were relentless with DDoS attacks, which is distributed denial of services. They were doing this for weeks at a time, just overloading the system, so it just kept crashing and messing up. And they were doing this around April of 2011, before the actual privacy breach. Anonymous was upset with Sony's legal actions against the PlayStation 3 hacker George Hotz, who goes by G-Hot. In Anonymous's eyes, the information G-Hot had uncovered was just how to run pirated games and how to run homemade software, and it was public domain. Like, it was accessible to anybody. They believed, if anything, Hotz had done Sony a favor by exposing the company's flaws. They could fix it now. And instead, they took legal action, which made the group mad. Well, the group eventually stopped the attacks, accepting that they were only hurting Sony's users and the gaming community in the end. But however, a couple weeks later, I believe the date is April 19th of 2011, the PlayStation networks was hit again, and this time it was completely different. It was not like before, where it was just DDoS attacks. And PlayStation networks will not come online again for 3 weeks. At first, there was no warning that anyone's personal data was at risk, and then 4 days passed by, and Sony finally confirmed that the personal details were at risk. On the 26th of April, 2011, Sony finally broke the news that the personal data of millions had been compromised. They told their customers, in quotations, "Although we are still investigating the details of the incident, we believe that the unauthorized person has obtained the following information that is provided." And that is names, addresses, email addresses, birth dates, PlayStation Network passwords, and usernames all got exposed. And they couldn't rule out the fact that credit cards might have gotten exposed. They just didn't have enough information to back it or to disclaim it. The whole situation set back Sony financially, but also tarnished the brand's image. They weren't the same after that. The Sony system failed. The company had taken a full week to make PSN users aware of this situation. The company had told the users that they were under maintenance in that meantime, and then had to come out and tell them that they were actually not under maintenance. And that was one of the main things that really brought the distrust of Sony users. They claimed that there was a difference in timing between when things were identified, when they identified there was an intrusion, and when they learned that the consumer's data had been compromised. They claimed that they learned there was an intrusion on the 19th of April and immediately shut the services down, and then brought in outside experts to learn how the intrusion occurred and to conduct an investigation and determine the nature and the scope of the incident. Sony at one point faced 55 class action lawsuits and eventually agreed to further compensate all those affected. They're still upgrading their systems. Sony announced it would introduce two-step verification 3 years after Microsoft did it for the Xbox Live. So watching the PSN hack happen and seeing Sony struggle to pick up the pieces had made me realize the importance of cybersecurity. There's never been an event that big and that affects so many people simultaneously since then. And it really just shows the importance of cybersecurity and how often data exploitation can really happen.